Hello. Today, talk about some of the Fujis, and certainly not all of them. There are, admittedly, some of the point-and-shoot Fujis that I have not used. The one that just recently came out is incredible, but I did not like the fact that they did not have a viewfinder for it, and that was a $200 add-on. For the money, I actually seriously considered it. However, relative to the Fuji X-T1, which with a pancake lens like the 27mm, is certainly less money, and certainly a better camera with certainly an electronic viewfinder that I could look through. I did not consider it. So just looking into Fuji's Pro-end cameras, as I said before, Fuji, from all indications, is going to announce the X-T2 in June and maybe release it in August or September. And I'm assuming it's going to be $2,000 or $1,900. Currently, the Fuji X-PRO2 is basically $1,700. The dealer cost on these things, by the way, is $1,530, as I found on the X-PRO2. So, anytime how much you think a camera store is making off these cameras, they're only making a couple $100 off of them. I absolutely love the Fuji X-PRO2. Some people will have an issue with the fact that, regardless of the fact that it has a dual card slot and 24 megapixel sensor and improved high ISO performance, which of course I've talked about endlessly already, that it is a rangefinder type camera, and the ergonomics on it are maybe not what they're suited to. I'm more than happy with it. I've adjusted my grip to the Fuji X-PRO2. Absolutely love it. I think it's a winner. It is a rather expensive camera. I can certainly give it a couple faults. Fuji actually should have seriously recessed the diopter correction, because once you set the diopter, I mean, you're not touching it ever again. I mean, the fact that this is out here where your hand could actually sit there and tweak it very, very easily was a mistake. It's not any big deal. You can put a piece of gaffer's tape over that to fix it, but this should have been recessed, and then it should have come with a little plastic tool, a little screwdriver you stick in there to adjust the diopter. That is what Fuji should have done, but did not do. But that's just a niggling little point. The joystick control in the back, the autofocus acquisition speed. I actually can't fault this camera. I'm not, and I'm a person that hates everything. I mean, I do. They say that you should never listen to a person that loves everything, because nothing they've got to say is like, oh, I love that guy, he's just a serial and axe murderer. It's like, well, you love everything. Why should I listen to you? Hey, there's an ancient saying about the person that hates everything. When they tell you something's awesome, that's probably when you should listen. And the X-PRO2 is an awesome camera. It is quite expensive. It probably will drop $200 in price around Christmas time if you want to consider getting one. I'm very much assuming that sometime around August or September there'll be a $200 or $300 price drop on the X-PRO2, and it'll be $1,300. That's exactly what should happen, but basically always has happened. A sale is about to go off too on Fuji lenses, most of them, and most of the cameras except for the X-PRO2. That's going to end here in just a couple, 3 days. My favorite camera in the world between these three, and that's partially because, well, the ergonomics on it are incredible. All of these cameras, the X-PRO2 and the X-T1 are made in Japan. They are exquisite. Absolutely love the hell out of them. Oddly enough, I've got 3 of these X-T1s. I need to get rid of one of them, but considering the fact that I found one of them, which is this one, for $580, not with a vertical grip, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous, $580 for an X-T1. The ergonomics are incredible. I love it. There is not... I'm rare to say this. I mean, this is a camera that I can't fault at all. I'm a total vertical battery grip slut. You got an additional battery here and a vertical grip, and this is my own little handmade hand strap, which I love to use with my cameras. I always have ever since photography school, and I make my own much better than the ones that I could buy. Far better. The X-T1 is exquisite. Right now, because the X-PRO2 came out, you can find these for about $650 or so in as new shape, because everybody has to lust after the latest and greatest toy. But I will never let go of this X-PRO2. This, right alongside the Nikon D810 and my D3, and possibly my D700, are my favorite cameras. So, in no particular order, the X-T1, the Nikon D810, and the Nikon D3 are my favorite cameras. The X-PRO2 is a really close follow-up. I mean, they're really, other than the diopter, which was really stupid that they did that. Instead, a piece of gaffer's tape will take care. The X-PRO2 is awesome, but it does not have the ergos of the X-T1. But it never had on the X-PRO1 either. So, Whether that's a bitch, whether that's something they complain about or not, you know, that's up for debate. They do have, I noticed on the X-PRO2, unlike the X-T1 and the Fuji X-T10, they went with a new type of a synthetic that doesn't wear. Like if you've seen anybody's X-T1, the rubber ridge in the back here that gets the most wear right here, you could tell how much wear an X-T1's had by noticing how much of these fake ridges are worn off right here, because this is actually rubber. And people bitch complain about rubber peeling. The rubber peels on every camera, Nikon, Fuji, Canon. All you do is you get some industrial super glue, you put a drop underneath there, and you glue it back. You hold it for a second, it's glued. New rubbers don't cost that much. But the X-T1, absolutely love the piss snot out of it. I think I've had like intimate dreams about the Fuji X-T1. I love it to death. And my God, I just love this camera. I mean, Fuji just hit the balls out of the park on the Fuji X-T1. Absolutely incredible. It's kind of a, you know, I love my SUV and, you know, normal cars, which are the DSLRs, and the limitations of mirrorless, of course, still exist. You know, you got to carry around a pocket full of batteries. There's still lag. Although that's avoided in the X-PRO2. You can switch to optical viewfinder, and you got no lag, baby. No lag. You know, you can sit there while you will see the lens, obviously, especially on a longer lens. You know, you can flip the switch here, right here, actually this way, and go switch to optical viewfinder. You got no lag. You're looking through the viewfinder as it's really occurring. X-T10 right now is cheap. I've seen a lot of X-T10s. This is my favorite little pack around camera. I made a little hand strap for it. My favorite little X-T1 hand strap, and I use a normally this lens, a 27mm on it. This has the exact same sensor and same sort of processing as the X-T1. So while this is basically the little cheaper brother of the X-T1, it will do everything the X-T1 does. It doesn't have all the button controls, but I can still control it very easily. One thing it does have that the X-T1 does not have is it actually has push button front and rear command dials, and that will be something on the X-T2. The X-T2 is going to be the Fuji X-PRO2. There will be improvements on the X-T2 over the X-PRO2 as far as continuous autofocus speed and some other little improvements. But it will be, in essence, the guts of the X-PRO2 inside of a new body, which will basically be the X-T1. It should be the X-T1 body, except maybe just a hair thicker to accommodate a dual card slot. Yes, the X-T2 will have a dual card slot. Yes, the X-T2 will have the exact same processing and same sensor as the X-PRO2. The autofocus speed will be not as good, it will be a little bit better. Fuji will have improvements on the X-T2 over the X-PRO2 in continuous autofocus acquisition. They are rolling out a new speed light. Now, right now they're using rebranded sun packs. They have a METS that they're coming out with full TTL and high-speed sync capabilities. With the Nissan i70, you have high-speed sync capabilities up to 1/4000th of a second on the X-T1, as I demonstrated in prior videos, and 1/8000th of a second high-speed sync capabilities on the Fuji X-PRO2. X-T10 is exquisite. Like I said, you can find these used like new on eBay right now for $550. I've seen a lot of them for $550. Some of them with the kit lens, which is this little cheap kit lens, which I basically never use, although it is a good little lens. It's like a $100 lens. That's how much it costs if you buy it with a kit. It comes with a 16 to 50, or you can get it with the 18 to 55, or the 18 to 50, excuse me, which is a far better lens, more expensive, made out of metal, doesn't have a plastic mount on the back. But I got this kit really cheap. But the Fuji X-T10 is an exquisite camera. It's very tiny, very lightweight. It's very pocketable, especially if you're using the 27mm pancake. Absolutely love the hell out of it. Like I said, same sensor, same processing as the X-T1, except in a more simple camera. There is one difference that I've noticed that nobody ever mentioned, and that doesn't really make a difference, is that the single continuous manual switch on the front of the X-T1 and the X-PRO2, which are metal, it is plastic on the X-T10. That doesn't really matter for anything, quite frankly. The viewfinder on the X-T1 is king. The X-PRO2 is a lot smaller. The X-T10 is some smaller, but compared to any DSLR, Nikon, or Canon, I mean, it's like looking from this to the X-T1, which is like this. The X-T1 viewfinder is incredible. It's stellar. If you wear glasses, the X-T1 is silk, sex, and sugar. This camera is divine, sublime, and out of time. It is just the tits, and Fuji knocked it out of the park. They put an enormous amount of forethought into the Fuji X-T1. And like I said, now the X-PRO2 has come out. The used, minty, as new ones are selling for dirt cheap on eBay. $600, $650, depends on where you get them and what it comes with, but that's pretty darn cheap for this camera. But I'm a total vertical battery grip slut, and they said these are made in Japan. Japan. I absolutely love the hell out of the Fuji X-T1. It's just never going to go anywhere. This camera is incredible. I've reviewed and used all the Fuji lenses. I've made endless reviews about the Fuji lenses, so there's certainly no need to mentioning those here. But you're looking at $1,700. I would not buy a new X-T1. I would buy a used, like new one for like $600, $650. You know, save the rest of that money and buy lenses with it. The X-T1, X-T10, excuse me, I would not buy a new one of those either. I would buy it used because they're dirt cheap right now. They are also on sale for the next 48 hours or so. They've been on sale all month. You can find one of these for $500, $550. Incredible. Incredible. I keep getting emails all the bloody time. I get so sick of emails. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video and drop me a buck or two, tell me to jump off a cliff, whatever makes you happy. Catch you later. Bye.